Breaking news! FIA President Ben Sulayem is finally backing away from his involvement with day-to-day operations in Formula One. Since taking over the association back in 2021, Ben Sulayem's tenure has been marked by a string of controversies, much to the ire of F1 teams and fans alike. His consistent overstepping of boundaries has led to many circles clamoring for his resignation, and those same circles may find a little bit of relief in Sulayem relinquishing his direct involvement with the sport. What prompted him to make this decision, and how does the Formula One community feel about the news? We're about to find out, so don't go anywhere. In a letter written to F1 team bosses on Monday, Ben Sulayem announced that he will be handing over hands-on control to single-seater director Nicolas Tombazis. The Emirate claims that it has always been his intention to act as a non-executive president and focus on FIA's strategic operations. My stated objective was to be a non-executive president via the recruitment of a team of professional managers, which has now been largely completed, Sulayem wrote. Therefore, going forward, your day-to-day contact for all matters on F1 will be with Nicolas and his team, while I will focus on strategic matters with my leadership team. Sulayem's claim that this has always been his plan was confirmed by the FIA, who stated, "The president's manifesto clearly set out this plan before he was elected. The appointment of an FIA CEO to provide an integrated and aligned operation, as well as to introduce a revised governance framework under a leadership team focused on transparency, democracy, and growth. These goals, as well as the announcement of the new structure of the single-seater department, have been planned since the beginning of this presidency. The FIA president has a wide remit that covers the breadth of global motorsport and mobility, and now that the structural reorganization in Formula One is complete, this is a natural next step." In the letter, Sulayem also clarified that he will stay on as president of the FIA, albeit a more reserved approach in terms of interacting with the teams. This decision follows a warning from F1 directed to Sulayem for his comments about the sport's valuation. The former rally driver took to Twitter to share his thoughts regarding news that Liberty Media, F1's parent company, rejected a $20 billion bid from Saudi Arabia's public investment fund to buy the sport. On the social media platform, Sulayem tweeted the following statements. "As the custodians of motorsport, the FIA, as a non-profit organization, is cautious about alleged inflated price tags of $20 billion being put on F1. Any potential buyer is advised to apply common sense, consider the greater good of the sport, and come with a clear, sustainable plan, not just a lot of money. It is our duty to consider what the future impact will be for promoters in terms of increased hosting fees and other commercial costs, and any adverse impact that it could have on fans." The series of tweets prompted an emotionally charged letter from F1's general counsel, where they warned that Formula One has the exclusive right to exploit the commercial rights in the FIA Formula One World Championship, as part of a pre-existing 100-year lease. Further, the FIA has given unequivocal undertakings that it will not do anything to prejudice the ownership, management, and/or exploitation of those rights. We consider that those comments, made from the FIA president's official social media account, interfere with those rights in an acceptable manner. F1 also called out Sulayem for crossing the line, saying that the FIA has no say in Formula One's business decisions whatsoever. They also warned that should the tweets hurt F1's perceived value, the FIA will be held liable. The circumstances in which the FIA would have any role in a change of control for the F1 group are very limited. Any suggestions or implication to the contrary, or that any potential purchaser of the F1 business is required to consult with the FIA, is wrong. Any individual or organization commenting on the value of a listed entity or its subsidiaries, especially claiming or implying possession of inside knowledge while doing so, risks causing substantial damage to the shareholders and investors of that entity, not to mention potential exposure to serious regulatory consequences. To the degree that these comments damage the value of Liberty Media Corporation, the FIA may be liable as a result. Unfortunately, this isn't the only issue Sulayem is facing as of the moment. Questions about his conduct have been raised due to his most recent issue involving sexist comments he made in his website back in 2001. He said that he did not like women who think they are smarter than men, for they are not in truth. The misogynist remark has been blasted by prominent F1 figures, seeing it as an embarrassment for the FIA president. Since then, a spokesperson for the FIA came to defend Sulayem, stating, The remarks in this archived website from 2001 do not reflect the FIA president's beliefs. He has a strong record on promoting women and equality in the sport, which he is happy to be judged on. It was a central part of his manifesto and actions taken this year, and the many years he served as FIA Vice President for Sport prove this. But perhaps one of the more talked about issues surrounding Sulayem and Formula One is the FIA's implementation of a clause in the International Sporting Code last December, which requires drivers to have written permission when talking about political, religious, and personal statements or comments. This has caused an uproar among F1 drivers who actively reject the implementation. Some of F1's top drivers, including Mercedes star Lewis Hamilton, have been very vocal about their advocacy of choice. He has been promoting inclusivity and fighting back against racism, most notably participating in the Black Lives Matter movement. And even Formula One itself encourages outspokenness, proven by their We Race as One platform that highlighted diversity and sustainability. During the Williams livery launch in their factory, F1 driver Alex Albon spoke up about the new rule. It seems quite a broad subject. We need clarity from the FIA on what they are trying to tell us. On a personal side, it is somewhat confusing. We were very much for We Race as One and all these kind of situations, and so now it seems like the FIA are trying to go away from that. So we need to see. We need to be open in dialogue about what they are trying to do. We need to be able to speak freely to some extent. I'm sure we're going to get clarity later on what really they're trying to say. Albon further added that as public figures, their influence makes them responsible for spreading awareness of issues that need to be talked about. A lot of people come to us and look at us as spokespeople for issues around the world, and I do feel like it is a responsibility for drivers to make people aware of these kind of situations. We're all concerned. These controversies, coupled with Sulayem's constant meddling with F1 affairs despite not having the authority to do so, may have been the catalyst for him stepping away from dealing with the sport directly. What are your thoughts on the matter? Are you satisfied with Sulayem's decision to distance himself from Formula One, or do you think he should resign from presidency completely? How will Nicolas Tombazis do as the middleman for F1 and the FIA? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell for more F1 updates.